Hello, everybody. Thank you for returning to our YouTube channel. I am Brian with Technology United for Ukraine. We are now partnered with the Birds of Fury. They are a Ukrainian military R&D unit that works with us to develop innovative technologies for the Ukrainian armed forces. We're a 100% volunteer nonprofit organization. So if you would like to join us, link is in the description. Always could use more scientists, engineers, technologists, or anybody who wants to help out the Ukrainian military. Okay, so let's get right into this. As of January 10th, 2025, the amount of losses, these are Russian soldiers that have expired, has now hit 4,930, with 1,830 being added. Incredible, mind-boggling number. Wounded, 2,414,790. Just a staggering amount of wounded. And you got to think a large amount of them will need rehabilitation, both psychological, physical, PT, physical therapy, occupational health. I mean, all these things that are going to come with having this amount of casualties coming back to your country. So mind-boggling. All right. So now armored combat vehicles has hit 20,253 with 32 being added. Tanks is 9,741 with 10 being added. Artillery has hit 21,789 with 24 being added. Just a massive amount of lives lost. So this 1,800 is a number that if we go back in a day, we'll see 1,430. Look at this number. 1,660, 1,970, 1,550, 1,730, 1,500. Think of that being added every day to a roster of losses. I mean, it is, it's, I don't even have words. It's staggering. I mean, these are just numbers that we haven't seen in recent times in conflicts, happening every single day. All right, so let's get into the Kursk area. So right now, as we know, there's a lot going on there. Ukrainian forces have crushed a lot of Russian assaults, particularly on the western side. Now, I'll go into the map in a minute, but I wanted to kind of get into a little bit of the details of this. So there has been right now multiple pushes by the Russians, and this has been continuous every day, up to 24 assaults in this week alone, with the Russians trying to push forward into the Ukrainian area of the Ukrainian held area of Kursk. And this is just a picture here of what I'm talking about. This was a recent assault. Entire unit was wiped out. It was a major attack on the Ukrainian. 50 units were lost, and 45 Russian lives were also expired in the attack and defeated again. But it's just a matter of volume, one could say, as the Russians are pushing forward and pushing more and more of these waves, human waves, into this area. And it just, after a while, it exhausts the Ukrainian defenses, so they have to pull back. So if we look right here, again, as I've talked about in the past, this is where major assault is happening from the Russians right here, and North Koreans and Chechens are all in this area. The Ukrainians pushed forward here and out here, and this puts some pressure for a short time. The Russians are now pulling more forces into this area, which are coming out of the major offensive by the Russians, which is in Ukraine. So it is stressing their ability to manage troops. But again, they have vast plethora of troops to throw at this equipment, but the losses are major. And again, it just becomes another area where the Ukrainians are putting up a defense, pulling back, putting up a defense, pulling back. And over time, the ratios just become massive of losses on the Russian side. It begins to accumulate. And, how long you can sustain that is anybody's guess. But one can imagine that. I personally can't with their economy and everything going. Do they have another 6 months? Remains to be seen. There's a lot of persistence on the Russian side to continue this. Now, we're going to go back to this map soon. In the news, we also know that the UK and NATO allies are going to deliver 30,000 drones to Ukraine because we've heard about this issue with China, and China's now blocking the ability of Ukraine to purchase drones. Now, it doesn't mean, I guess, I don't know all the nuances of this. I can imagine a company in Poland may be able to purchase drones for Ukraine and send them in. So this again might be just a little token thing they're doing for the Russians, saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to block Ukraine from getting them," but they have a pretty big industry of drones with Ukraine. Do you want to lose that global market by shutting it completely down? We know DJI drones are pretty big industry, the DJI brand. So, I mean, it remains to be seen how much they're going to enforce this. But NATO and UK is stepping up to purchase a large amount of drones for the Ukrainians. Now, there was an attack. Let me see here. Down here. There is a plant right here. And if I say this right, Plast Factor is the name of it. Right down in the Rostov area. It's a city right here, not far, obviously, from the front lines. What they made exactly there, I don't know, but probably were making components for maybe drones and other things that are being sent to the front lines. So the Ukrainians decided to hit it. I mean, you just look at this. This is massive, massive fire. And apparently took out a lot of stuff around it. Pretty significant strike by the Ukrainians. Let's also look at the map here. And one other thing I'd like to say, it's now being reported what we know, what the Ukrainians know, and the British intelligence has collected, that roughly 4,000 North Korean troops have become casualties on the Kursk front. So this is, again, a bit of guessing, extrapolation, if you'd like to say, but that is what it's been predicted has been lost on the front lines in the Kursk area by the North Koreans, which is mostly in this area here. Now let's go back to the map. Where's my map here? Oh, I'm at the map. I mean, let's move down in the map here. And if we look over here, here's the Kharkiv offensive by the Russians has stalled, not going anywhere, and they probably just don't have the troops to waste on that frontline area. It's just not worth it right now. They've got the Kursk to worry about. They have the big push down in Pokrovsk. And if we look at these areas here, there's no activity. If I go back in time, I'm going to click. You just won't see any real movement. I'm going back. Very, very static right now. Nothing going on here. I go forward. We don't see much movement, just a little bit. Let's go look at what's happening in Chasiv Yar. Massive fight. My sources there are saying they have put up a really stiff defense. There is very solid defense here that the Ukrainian forces have put up, and the Russians have just hit a wall, and they're not getting past it. And if we go back in time, we can kind of see that. Look, it's not moving. I'm clicking back. You see other areas over here moving. This is where Pokrovsk is, right? So we can see a lot, but just nothing really here. Maybe a few hundred meters at best. All right, so let's go now to where the big fighting is going on. And we talk about this a lot. Pokrovsk, Ukrainians have put up a fairly stiff resistance, but they're beginning to pull back more and more now. This city is mostly abandoned at this point. The Russians are pushing hard this way. We see them going out this way, over here, and this way. So eventually they want to get something like this, bring this in here, and then just close off this whole area. So they'll have another kind of bulge that they can work from. So this would be their kind of station where they'll station and then work out this way and this way. The losses have been mind-boggling, as we know. And if we go back, we can see how they have progressed over time. We're only going back days here. So we see it's been a much faster pace at this point, but still it's hundreds of yards every day. And how long can you sustain this, right? How many troops can you possibly and equipment can you throw at this offensive? I mean, let's say they get out to here. They lost a massive amount of troops to gain this. Just to gain out to here is going to be another catastrophic amount of losses in equipment. And what they have is not infinite, it's finite. And there has to be a threshold where you're losing more than you can replace. And when that threshold is hit, it's anybody's guess. But they are suffering heavy losses in that area. All right, everybody. Again, thank you for coming to our YouTube channel. If you'd like to join Technology United for Ukraine and work with the Ukrainian Armed Forces to develop innovative technology or help us out on the volunteer side, just putting the word out, working in our advocacy part of what we do, raising awareness, please, links in the description. All right, Slava Ukraini, everyone.